Hey, this is Matt. I'm here with Nick today. We're at a lake house on Lake Ontario that we're building in Lancaster, New York. And this is an incredible site. This is a very unique building that we're working on here today. We teamed up with Timberbuilt out of Buffalo for the exterior shell. As you can see here, we got these really large timbers that are the primary structure for the building. The house consists of a timber frame structure with a SIP panel, super insulated panel system. Come take a look at this over here. So these panels consist of 6.5 inch thick EPS foam insulation encapsulated within here. And you can notice that the beams socket into the panels at the top. And what happens is, in a traditional timber frame, the timber would bring down the loading from the roof on the inside, so you'd see the timber on the inside of the structure. But the way this is unique is that the structure for that timber, the load's being carried by a series of sandwiched 2x6s that are embedded within the SIP panel system, which is pretty cool because then you can get these nice, smooth, more modern looking, clean walls that are uninterrupted, but you still get the really awesome view of the timber above. The roof structure consists of a 10.5 inch EPS foam panel system, and we have 8 by 12 inch beams that are basically providing the structure. The timbers are providing the structure for those SIP panels on the roof. And what's really cool about this system is, rather than a conventional frame where we spend a bunch of time on the job knocking together walls and standing them up, Timberbuilt comes in here with their team of guys. It's about 3-4 guys, and they stand up each panel using a crane. They place the timbers, and then they use the crane once again to set the panels on the roof. It's a really cool process. So one of the unique features of the design of this house is its shape. So you can kind of see it's a shed style roof, and it's oriented towards the lake. It kind of opens up towards the lake. And you can kind of see how the beams actually begin to frame the view through this portal to the lake. And we really wanted to maximize the views that they have at this site. I mean, you got these just incredible views of Lake Ontario here. This isn't the first house we built on Lake Ontario, but every time we build up here, we feel blessed because it's just like being oceanside. It's incredible. The water's crystal clear blue. It really makes for a beautiful backdrop for a house like this. So now we're outside the house, taking a look at the outside corner here, so you can kind of really see how expressive the timber frame makes this form. It really kind of casts your view towards the lake, and that's probably one of my favorite parts about a timber frame structure like this, is being able to have that exposed wood on the exterior. We're going to follow this up with a really nice LP siding. We'll have more videos about that coming up, but you can kind of see one of the struggles that we've had over the course of this job is the site conditions. So this is a really clay dense soil, holds on to moisture. So that we've been kind of fighting that as we've transitioned out of winter and we're moving into spring. The ground's a little wetter, so we've done a rough backfill, and we're gonna have to wait until drier weather comes, give this time to dry out so that we can recondition the site. But you can kind of see below, we have our foundation here, which is a superior wall foundation system. We'll get some more videos of that system later on, but we chose that system specifically for this project because the time of year we were beginning it. We began this project in the fall, really quickly coming upon winter. We knew we didn't want any cast concrete in place, so We worked with Superior Wall Systems. They came in here, we prepped the site, we dug the hole, got it ready for them. They showed up, and in about a day they had the panels lifted into place and installed. And that's one of the major advantages of why I really like Superior Walls. You know, it's just so user-friendly. They get you on the job faster, and you know, they really do a nice job. So over here with a SIP panel house such as this, you have to have really special considerations for wind loading, especially here on the lake. So you can see here, we work with Superior Walls to embed these Simpson STD 14RJs. They actually cast these into the foundation system for us. And what these do is provide a continuous strapping for connecting the foundation to the building so that we can make sure that this thing doesn't go anywhere, even in high wind situations. So you can kind of see here we have this big concrete chunk here. You might be wondering what that is. That's a 1,500 gallon septic tank for the house. Placed kind of high, right? It's strategically placed at that elevation because we had an existing septic here that they had designed and engineered. You can see the D boxes here. So what happens is all the effluent from the house is going to flow into the tank, and then from the tank into the D box, and then out into the leach bed. And originally when we were planning the house, we were trying to decide what level to place the house, and we were thinking about a pump up system, which can be really expensive. And ultimately we decided to elevate the house to what you see here so that we could, you know, perfectly align the septic main coming out of the house with the septic tank. And that was a really careful balancing act that we had to go through in the initial planning for the building. But it worked out really great. So we're gonna end up connecting the house directly to the tank, a very short distance to the D box, and then ultimately we're gonna finish this. We have a lot of residual fill left available. We're gonna finish capping off this entire area with the fill, and then, you know, down the road later in the season when it's a little drier out, we'll get the opportunity to you know, bring some nice clean topsoil in and seed this whole area. All right, so when we look at this house, you can see the real exaggerated overhangs here. And this is one of the benefits of using Timber-Built's system. It's pretty great because you can extend the timbers out, cantilever them pretty far, and also the panels above. And that's really nice because it sort of expresses, again, the form. It emphasizes that view out of the house, and it gives you extra protection from the elements on this facade. Because we get a lot of, you know, weather coming from the lake, so that's a huge advantage. And also the thickness of the roof. You probably noticed the thickness of the roof. It's because those panels are about 10.5-inch thick EPS foam, and then the whole perimeter of them is actually a 2x10 board that's sandwiched in between two layers of OSB. They have the OSB on the top and the OSB on the bottom with the EPS foam in the middle. And it's kind of great because, you know, after Timber-Built comes in here and they install the timbers, they install the panels, this thing's ready for finishing. We can apply all the exterior finishes, the roofing, the siding. And you can kind of see our guys are up here today. They're finishing the windows install, and they're also working on the roof. We have a really special purling system and organization up there for ventilating that roof. So they're installing those purlins today. And they're also going to be working on installing the first strips for the rain screen, the LP siding rain screen.